Hi, I'm Lisa Sabaniak from Life Like You Mean It. And today we are going to talk about the divine feminine. Now, this video is going to be in three parts. First, we will talk about what is it? What is divine feminine energy? Two, we will talk about how does divine feminine energy relate to masculine energy? And three, we will cover how do you work with divine feminine energy? So let's get started. So, for us to understand what divine feminine energy is, we first have to kind of take a bigger picture and look at oneness, wrap our head around that. So, oneness is the idea that there is basically one energy, that we all stem from this energy. So, in essence, we are all one. We might be in separate bodies with separate egos and personalities, but we are at the core the same energy. And so that relates to the divine feminine. The idea here is that there is one energy, and that energy is polarized. So there is a masculine aspect to that energy and a feminine aspect to that energy. So the masculine side of energy is more rooted in doing, for example, right? Achieving. It's molded in logic and reason. Whereas the feminine energy is more guided by intuition, oriented towards receiving and allowing, and would be characterized more by being. And so hopefully you can see how these two are perfectly formed together, that if you place one in the other and allow them to just merge together into one, they make the perfect, equal, balanced energy. If you're liking what you're hearing, I would love for you to come and check out my website where you can learn more about my story, my work as a priestess of the goddess, and see how I can help you. So, in step 2 of our video, we want to talk about how the divine feminine would relate to the divine masculine. Because a lot of people really have this kind of sense or this idea that one has to dominate over the other. But hopefully, in the first part, you recognize that these are just two aspects of one energy, which means that if they were to merge back into one, they create perfect balance. And that's exactly how we want to look at divine feminine energy. She is the feminine aspect of the masculine, or the masculine aspect of the feminine, right? They work together. One does not need to dominate over the other. So when you have somebody like myself, who is a priestess of the goddess in all of her forms, that doesn't mean that I advocate for women or feminine energy to be dominating over male or masculine energy, but it is back into the finding of balance between the two, to have equality between the two. Side note, this brings out the idea of the god versus the goddess. There are many religions out there that believe in multiple gods and goddesses. And of course, we know that Christianity believes in one God, right? And one doesn't necessarily have to be right for another one to be wrong. It's totally possible that whatever you believe is actually what is. But for those that do believe in multiple gods or goddesses, I can speak from my personal experience that when I work with the goddess, I do not believe literally that there are different goddesses, because I believe in all the energy is one. So, what I believe is that the goddess, the feminine, the divine feminine energy, the polarity of the feminine side of source energy, has many different aspects to her. She takes different forms, and in different cultures, they would have associated that with an actual different persona. And so you would end up with a specific goddess for love, a specific goddess for war, specific goddess for the home, etc. But I believe that that actually is one energy, the goddess, the divine feminine version. Just like on the other side with God or if we're looking at Odin or Thor or Zeus or any of the other gods that are in multiple other pantheons, same idea that it is one masculine energy, the polarity of the masculine side from the source energy that has different personas, if you will, different forms, depending on what they are, what it is helping with. So, really, part three of our video here now talks about how we can work with her. And so, again, this isn't about ignoring the masculine so that we can focus on the feminine. It's about finding that balance because we all have a masculine side and a feminine side, all of us. And so we want to find that balance. We want to honor both sides of ourselves here. And so knowing that the feminine aspect is more on intuition and being, whereas the male side is more on the doing, right? And the more logical, then hopefully you can see how you can just sit with yourself, knowing what it is that you are interested in, knowing how you work best, and start to figure out how you can work with both sides. Allow yourself to express both sides equally so that you have that aspect of doing and logic and reason that is masculine. And you also have the more nurturing, the more being, the more intuitive side of the feminine aspect of you. But to specifically work with divine feminine energy, you might want to tap more into your intuition if you don't already. This can be things like just listening to your gut, honing in, doing some meditation, and really starting to learn more about yourself. It might mean that if you like to wear makeup and you like to, have frilly dresses, that that's how you express yourself to work with the divine feminine. Just like if you're feeling more masculine, you may decide to do your makeup differently or not wear makeup, wear different types of clothes. You absolutely can express this on the exterior. But the divine feminine also works with things like forgiveness, being heart centered, being accepting, right? Which for me, acceptance is the absence of resistance. You've got reflective nature, creativity, things like this that are bound to the divine feminine energy. That if you would like to work with her more, you certainly can look into the goddess, but you can also just spark your own creativity. If you know that you like different types of art projects, then dive into that. If you've always wanted to take a pottery class, amazing. Now is a great time to look at doing that. I hope this video was helpful for you. As always, I'm ever so grateful for you watching. If you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe by clicking that button below so you never miss a video of mine. Thank you so much. Bless.